Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another coffee rant with Dano and Frank, our Patriot Bald Eagle. Tonight, we are going to be discussing Hillshire Company recalling 58 million pounds of corn dogs and sausage. Apparently, this had happened in some of the different sausage link wrapped in, I guess, pancakes or something. For pieces of wood in the batter, 5 people have been injured from this. So I was like, well, we got to discuss this. I couldn't even get through the weekend here. We have another one we're going to discuss after this, so make sure you get your popcorn ready, get your coffee ready. We're going to dive right into it here. I am reading from Food Safety News. This is a site that I frequent a lot whenever there is a major recall, and this is quite a big one. Their headline goes on to say, Hillshire recalls 58 million pounds of corn dogs, sausages because of pieces of wood. The Hillshire Brands Company of Haltom City, Texas, is recalling 58 million pounds of corn dog and sausage on a stick products that may be contaminated with extraneous material, specifically pieces of wood embedded in the batter. The USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service announced today. The problem was discovered after the establishment received multiple consumer complaints, 5 of which involved injuries. The Hillshire Brands Company conducted an investigation and determined that the wooden sticks entered the production process before or prior to product battering. FSIS has received no additional reports of injury from consumption of these products. Anyone concerned about an injury should contact a healthcare provider. The products were packaged between March 17th, 2025 and September 26th, 2025. The products are sold under the Jimmy Dean and State Fair brands, in addition to some that are not branded. A list of the products subject to recall can be found on the product list that Food Safety News has. There's a lot of them, so I'm not going to be able to go over them. However, I encourage you to check this out if you have any State Fair corn dogs or any Jimmy Dean corn dog products of the different corn dogs, because like I said, the list is huge. They do have a product list here that you can click on. This will also be on the probably on the FDA's website as well, or the FSIS website. And then they have the labels for the impacted products that can be found on this clickable link where it says view labels on Food Safety News. We have a lot to go over, so I'm not going to be able to go over each one, but we will go over the different product numbers, establishment numbers. The products subject to recall bear establishment number EST, as in establishment-582, or P as in Paul-894, printed on the packaging. The items were sold online and shipped to retail and food service locations nationwide. They were also sold to school districts and Department of Defense facilities nationwide. While the products were distributed to schools, it resulted from commercial sales and not part of food provided by the USDA for the National School Lunch Program. FSIS is concerned that some products may be in consumers' refrigerators or freezers, along with school and institution refrigerators and freezers. Consumers, schools, and institutions who have purchased these products are urged not to consume them. These products should be thrown away or returned to the place of purchase. Return to place of purchase and get your money back. I can't stress that enough. The only way they're ever going to take care of these situations in the future is if they have to pay for them. If they are losing money, right, because you paid for this product, don't throw it away. Get your money back. Always get your money back. FSIS routinely conducts recall effectiveness checks to verify recalling firms notify their customers of the recall and that steps are taken to make certain that the product is no longer available to consumers. When available, the retail distribution list will be posted on the FSIS website at www.fsis.usda.gov/recalls. Consumers with questions about the recall can contact Christina Self, the Hillshire Brands Company Associate Director of Customer Care, at 888-747-76 911. Lots of accidents in the food distribution centers over the last year. There's been way too many. And the fact that these have been distributed since March. Did you guys catch that? I kind of gave the Dan OI there, when I saw March of 2025 all the way through. I mean, at least they've caught it, I guess. But it doesn't say how long ago was it that these 5 people were injured? How long did it take for the determination that this was the problem? I mean, it must be as of recent that people are now finding them and, I don't know, I guess biting into the product and then a piece of wood. I mean, if 5 people are injured from it, chances are there's probably a lot more that just haven't called or complained about it. I mean, I'm assuming. I don't know. But again, I'm just the messenger. 58 million pounds of this being on recall is no joke. 58 million pounds. Not 58 million hot dogs or corn dogs. 58 million pounds. That is quite a large amount. Okay, so now we need to go over to USA Today that I saved here. I was going to go over this yesterday, but I had already put out 2 news alerts on different recalls. I was like, I got to give you guys a break. I needed a break from it. But apparently cinnamon, a lot of you guys have been commenting about this one and had sent me a couple emails. So I wanted to go over it here just so that we all knew what was going on. USA Today, and this is all over the news as well. State Fair and Hillshire was all over the news this morning. I couldn't believe it. It was just 58 million pounds of corn dogs, and it is just, they're everywhere. So hopefully the news is getting out there and everybody is taking these back and getting their money back. I just hope that's the case. But moving on to the next one here. USA Today, and this one is a bit disturbing for me, and I'll tell you why here after we're done. With this article, because it's a little disturbing that even after a year and some months, almost a year and a half, that this is still an issue. This is still an issue. And we'll talk about Dollar Tree. This is about the cinnamon, the over amount of lead that has been found in cinnamon. Now, I will say right away that, we frequent Dollar Tree a lot. They still haven't had the Supreme Tradition ground cinnamon come back to Dollar Tree. They do have Spice Supreme. Okay, they have been getting Spice Supreme. However, that one is not one that has been on recall. We saw Dollar Tree do this just a couple months ago. And some of you guys were saying that ground cinnamon has returned to your Dollar Tree, but is it the Supreme Tradition? I don't think so. I think it's the Spice Supreme. I don't think the Supreme Tradition has come back since that recall last summer in 2024. So anyway, let's move on. Okay, USA Today, I picked this one because it's worded very well. Their headline says, more cinnamon recalled over elevated lead levels. Okay, and then underneath it, it says, the FDA has already recalled 12 ground cinnamon products for elevated lead levels since summer of 2024. A New York food distributor has recalled one of its ground cinnamon products due to potential lead contamination, according to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or FDA notice. SLR Food Distribution of Hicksville, New York, which is very big. It's a very big food distribution center. SLR Food Distribution of Hicksville, New York, announced the recall for its Wise Wife brand ground cinnamon on Friday, September 26. The company said the now recalled product, quote, has the potential to be contaminated with elevated levels of lead, end quote. The Wise Wife brand ground cinnamon was distributed to retailers in New Jersey, New York, Florida, Maryland, Minnesota, Oklahoma, and Ohio between February 15th, 2024 and June 28th, 2025, according to the FDA notice. The last sales order of the cinnamon was distributed on June 28th, and the product is no longer being sold by SLR Food Distribution Incorporated, the federal agency had said. As of September 26, no illnesses have been reported in connection with the recalled ground cinnamon, the company had said. The recall was initiated as a result of an analysis conducted by the FDA, which revealed the cinnamon product contained elevated levels of lead. According to the notice, the recall follows previous FDA alerts for 12 ground cinnamon products found to have elevated lead levels. The agency issued in summer 2024 and updated September 12th. The recalled Wise Wife brand ground cinnamon is packaged in a 1.76 ounce clear plastic jar with a black lid, according to the notice. The UPC code is 0-688474-302853, and it is printed on the back label. Okay, and they go on here to say why elevated levels of lead are dangerous, and we're just going to go over these because it's been a while since we've covered any of this. And part of the reason why I'm a little upset about this is because how have they not learned the lesson here? All these other companies that have been, taken down for very high elevated levels of lead. Well, how is this company not following suit, right? Like, all companies should follow suit within the regulations of what it needs to be for said ground cinnamon, at least here in the United States. So, there's that. Okay, so we're going to go over this. Per the FDA, quote, short-term exposures to very low levels of lead may not elicit any symptoms, end quote. The federal agency added that increased blood lead levels may be the only apparent sign of lead exposure. However, additional signs and symptoms are, quote, more likely with acute exposure to higher levels of lead or chronic exposure to lead, end quote. Lead can affect nearly every bodily system, but its effect depends on the amount of duration of exposure, as well as the individual's age and body weight, according to the FDA. For children, exposure to enough lead for weeks to months could cause permanent damage to their central nervous system, resulting in learning disorders, developmental defects, and other long-term health problems, the federal agency added. For adults, chronic lead exposure is linked with kidney dysfunction, hypertension, and neurocognitive effects, the FDA said. Lead poisoning symptoms in children, there's quite a few. Could be developmental delay, learning difficulties, irritability, loss of appetite, weight loss, sluggish and fatigue, abdominal pain, vomiting, constipation, hearing loss, seizures, eating things such as paint chips that aren't food, an eating disorder known as pica. Wow. Okay. Lead poisoning symptoms in adults can be high blood pressure, joint and muscle pain, difficulties with memory or concentration, headache, abdominal pain, mood disorders, reduced miscarriage, stillbirth, or premature birth in pregnant women. What should people do with recalled cinnamon? As they say here, the FDA is urging anyone who bought the recalled Wise Wife brand ground cinnamon to return it to the place of purchase for a full refund. They don't even mention throwing it away. I like them. Get your refund. Consumers with questions can contact SLR Food Distribution at 516-437-3782. Now, this is what I was interested in with the other 12 that were involved in this. In addition to the Wise Wife brand cinnamon recall, the FDA has recalled 12 other ground cinnamon products for elevated lead levels beginning in summer of 2024. The recalled products include La Frontera, Asli, Hillshire, Markham, Swad, Supreme Tradition, Super Brand, Campia, Intilidor, Oriental, ALB Flavor, Shashada, or Shahazda, Spice Class, and Jiva Organic Ground Cinnamon. And that is it for that one. Yeah, guys, it's just, the reason why this one bugged me is because of what I said before. It's like, they have a level, right? There's a level that apparently you can't even go by. I remember back when this first started, there were certain, because there are a very minute amount of lead in cinnamon. But apparently with the process that can be done, I don't know if there's any allowed anymore. I don't know if there's even a minute amount. I don't know if that is even allowed anymore. I have heard stories and read some things where it is not. And then some people in the process say that that is flat out impossible. I don't know which one it is. I don't know if you can remove it all. But according to the FDA, it looks like it has to be that way. And the fact of whatever levels it is or whatever is done with the however amount is allowed or not allowed, this company should have known this. This is a big food distributor in New York, right? SLR's pretty big. They should have known this, and the fact that they have not been doing, have they not been doing these level testings? That's my concern is, and that's been a lot of problems with these recalls and a lot of things going on, is a lot of these the lab processes and stuff just don't seem like they're up to standards of what we need them to be. And that's the problem. That's the big problem, is that, you know, what is passing through, how is it passing through, who is in charge of this, and we'll never know any of that stuff. But at the same time, I'm glad we have these companies that are finding out this information, because we can't have this stuff go on. Over the last couple of years, I've seen and heard more and read about more recalls over the last couple of years than I think's ever been in the history of time. At least that we are recording anyway, right? We're finding maybe the lab work and stuff is getting better. Maybe they're getting better and they're finding these things more. You know, I don't know, but either way, I'm just the messenger, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. They just keep pouring on. The 58 million pounds of corn dogs and the sausage things and all that. It's like, and now this and everything else we've gone over the last couple days. It's just, we just have to keep moving forward and keep, make sure you stay tuned. We will keep all updates as we go along, have updates on this as it goes along, because a lot of this stuff has a tendency to get bigger. A lot of these, we'll see what happens. Maybe, hopefully it doesn't. But at the same time, we have to pay attention to all these little details so that we make sure that we are in the know of everything going on. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.